Folks, this is the 323. I am your host, Reid Murphy. Some more awesome content. I wonder how dirty the underside of my shoe is. Sorry for you folks out there. But we are still in beautiful-ish today. Moist.
DC.
A very moist Washington, D.C. at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center, home of AwesomeCon 2024. It has been another very fun weekend, and it's again another opportunity for all three of us, the usual Thursday night crew, to do this together in person for the second time. We're recording, doing content all together. It's awesome to actually see you guys in person and have you.
It's definitely a lot more chaotic.
It's a little more chaotic. But it's a fun chaotic. We can actually talk over each other and mean it,
Right?
instead of just running over each other.
We don't have to worry about a lag going on.
Right, exactly. No lag here.
No buffering.
No buffering.
No
A little
edging.
bit.
Little edging.
Little edging.
I didn't sign up for that.
Yeah. We're learning about edging. We're getting it down. But it's been very fun. It's very fun to have you guys here, and some stuff that we wanted to go over because it's AwesomeCon weekend. It's a huge event for, a celebration of geek culture and comic books, anime, superheroes, all the great stuff. Star Wars, Tom Welling.
Fuck Tom Welling.
People apparently love Tom Welling. Michael Rosenbaum.
I don't know. They were quick to get out of that room.
From what me and Scott missed it. From what I heard, I think Michael Rosenbaum very caked up or something like that. I don't know. He was changing or something around us.
Oh yeah, Griffin was talking about it. I missed the story, but
Yeah.
I guess they were changing in outfits. And
Yeah,
shit.
they have a connection now. Griffin and Michael Rosenbaum.
Oh, but we
so-
weren't PG enough to get the 2:00 slot.
That's
They had pushed us back at 9:15.
Wait, is that who was changing his pants on the stage?
Who?
Is that who was changing his pants on the stage?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was in there too.
Lex
he was
Luthor?
just like trading. It's just like, oh yeah, it's like I was like, this is an 18+ room. Like you can do that on stage. It's fine.
Okay.
I didn't know who I was talking
What a
to.
missed opportunity. We could have done the panel nude.
We had gone.
Because this is a celebrating weekend of geek culture. We did top 5 Studio Ghibli films for Scott. He did that the other night. I did top 5 comic book TV shows, and some pretty fun responses so far to both of those. But something that we wanted to get from Zuhair Ali. He is the host of the Animation Deliberation podcast, something that you can find great content wherever you get your podcast. Awesome stuff for all the animation and anime fans. We wanted to talk to you because one of the biggest things on Netflix right now is Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's, I think, the #1 show still on there right now, the new live action adaptation, not the M. Night Shyamalan adaptation. And
There is no film in Boston, say.
right, yeah. And I wanted to talk before we get your top 5 animes that I should watch, because I am not an anime person, but I would be into it. I could get into it. There are quite a few. There's one that I can't remember the name of that I watched the entire series of in a random 2 nights.
Can
It
you
was-
describe it?
It wasn't One Piece, I can tell you that.
I know it was not One Piece.
I also do have a question for you.
It was something about a bunch of students. It was post-apocalypse, but they were in a bunker or in a school or something underground, and there was I think it was a giant cat, like a murder cat or something that was in charge of them, and somebody was killing people, the remaining students in there, and they had to figure out throughout the
Death Note.
season of what this was. I had an ex, she loved it, and she was just watching it for
You can text her.
a couple of nights. I could actually. She would be very irritated because I've asked her this multiple times over the years since we broke up, and I've asked her once a year. I'm like, hey, what's the name of this anime again? And she was like, it's this. And I'm like, okay. I could get into animes is what I'm trying to get at, and I need some recommendations. But before we do that,
Wait, we're on the topic.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you this question. Because recently found out about the passing of Akira Toriyama, who created Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah.
which is arguably the most influential anime
And that's-
ever, right? People
yeah.
who don't know anything about anime understand who Goku at least is.
Right.
It's kind of the face of anime at this point. So, did Dragon Ball Z or any other shows, like you mentioned Sailor Moon, growing up, like in the Tsunami era or stuff, like have any kind of impression on you that kind of like lives rent-free in the back of your head, stuff that you just kind of like, oh, I knew that this was a thing back in the day, or I just kind of like resonated with it. Do you have any shows that like just kind of like stick with you, like Dragon Ball Z kind of does with most people?
I mean, that's one, the perfect example is Dragon Ball Z. Like, I grew up on that. I watched that pretty religiously, like on Cartoon Network and Toonami when they would do the re-airs and, you know, the dubbed re-airs. Watched all of Dragon Ball Z through the Majin Buu era, through the
Next
Majin
week we
Buu
should
saga.
do a top 5 Dragon Ball Z moments.
Oh, I would love that. I've been looking. I'm pretty sure I know where to go to find it, but I've been wanting to rewatch Dragon Ball Z so badly. I love so many of the different arcs. The Cell arc. I love the androids and Android
That was my
17. And I watched Dragon Ball GT too. I like GT, and I haven't. I guess I got lost sometime before the new era started, but would like to get into Super.
It's a good binge.
Yeah, I would like to get into that. So that was a big one for me. There were other, like, I can't think of any other ones in particular. Naruto was always like a big one around me, but I never actually watched it as a kid. There was a show that was kind of anime inspired, Code Lyoko, that I would watch. I like that. That was really good.
That's a good
Pokemon obviously was a big one. Yu-Gi-Oh was another one. I don't know if that was necessarily anime.
Yeah.
Same with like Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I know is an argument here at this con as to whether Avatar: The Last Airbender is considered anime or not. I would consider it anime, or at least heavily inspired. Everything. I loved Avatar: The Last Airbender. I never watched Legend of Korra, but loved the original series. I know that I need to watch that.
How Star Wars is basically anime at this point, if you think about the storytelling and building, like how it's kind of carrying on. Right
Samurai Jack was one that I loved, and that same creator, I think it was Gennady something, did a Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the original Clone Wars, like mini-series, before Revenge of the Sith came out. That was in the same.
Jay Scotty loves this name, and I cannot for the life of me say it. So apologies to the creator of the original Clone Wars and Samurai Jack.
I loved that version of Clone Wars, and it was very anime Samurai Jack kind of style. So there are so many influences that I appreciate and love about these different animes. It's just there are so many that are like have been on for like a long time. One Piece is one that I've seen good bits of, but it's so many episodes.
Yeah.
And it feels wildly overwhelming to go ahead and start in on something that I'm not going to be able to finish.
And my list actually caters to that.
Okay.
To where we're doing shorter things, easier to digest. Things that have already like wrapped up.
I'm excited for that then. But while we've mentioned Avatar: The Last Airbender, we've mentioned One Piece. These are shows that have recently been adapted from animation to live action. And I think a lot of people have argued those two have been very successful with it. One Piece was very critically acclaimed for how it managed to adapt itself from its very highly animated style to a live action piece that really honors what they do on there. Avatar: The Last Airbender, I've just started getting into. The first episode was, I thought, really well done in terms of adapting that into live action. I'm curious to see the rest of the season on there. But before that, it's kind of dicey, right? There was Cowboy Bebop is one that I watched as a kid. I like Cowboy Bebop. I will always remember the theme song, the opening, that jazzy kind of style to it. And I was excited when they were doing a live action adaptation. I watched a little bit. I was like, ugh. There was the Dragon Ball live action film, the original Last Airbender live action.
Like one anime that I would definitely recommend that I know is not on Zoo's list would be Attack on Titan. That's a really good series to get into, and it starts off quick. Like there's no lagging into the show. Within like the first 5 to 10 minutes, like shit gets real fast. And I was really excited when they did the live action adaptation. I just didn't like it at all. But
they changed up something within the first couple of minutes.
Yeah,
that was a big change that made me turn it off. I mean, this kind of dives directly into your question because Dragon Ball Evolution and Attack on Titans are two of the reasons that I have such a bad taste in my mouth, like, for that. I never watched the Avatar one because I didn't watch all of Avatar until maybe COVID was when I binged it for the first time because I was more of a Cartoon Network kid, so I didn't watch Nickelodeon stuff much, unless it was just like waiting for something I was actually looking forward to come back on. So Avatar was a very recent watch for me, but One Piece I haven't watched since like middle school, so it's like I wasn't jumping because I had such a bad taste for like live act, and it was also just like the disrespect that animation content has been getting lately. That's why Animation Deliberation was started, because people had this impression it's just for kids and there's no good storytelling, and why would you watch that? Why are you wasting your time? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So there was a part that was just kind of like I was so busy defending the animated stuff that I didn't want to like fully start consuming the live action stuff, especially if it was rushed money grabs. So it's like we didn't hear that much positive on Cowboy Bebop that you mentioned, so I hadn't watched that yet. I had no urge to watch One Piece because I hadn't even watched the anime. So it's like, why would I support the live action when I haven't even done the anime stuff yet?
Right.
And I've just had this issue with like content in general, that people just feel the need to talk too much and they need to get their opinion and impression out there. But like I didn't have the time frame to like watch the new live action Last Airbender as quick as I wanted to. So it's like people are talking and it's like, oh, you gotta look out for this and do that. It's like, no, shut the fuck up. Like, let me get my own impression of it. I have enjoyed it so far, and I intentionally did not rewatch the animated one because I didn't want to have that full comparison of, oh, they did this here, they did that there, because it's been a couple of years since I did a binge. But I've enjoyed it a lot lately. Like it's, if I had to give it like a 1 to 5, I think it's on a 4 right now. The world building is incredible, the music is on point, the acting's pretty good, and the changes that they've made there's nothing that they've done that made me go, oh, they did it like this in the original content, and they did that better. It was just like, okay, they went a different direction, and this is just an interesting take on it. So I am happy that they are kind of like starting to do justice to the animated stuff, but if they're going to do it just for money grabs, then it's like, you guys can fuck off.
Side note, the one that you were speaking of that you couldn't remember the name, is it the Promised, what was it? The Promised Neverland? Is that the one you were talking about?
I don't think, no, it was like a name that I could not pronounce.
Oh, okay.
Was the problem. Like Doga Yogo Shop, and I'm not even going to try.
Oye, ¿cómo va?
Huh?
Oye, ¿cómo
Oye,
va?
¿cómo va?
The funny thing about you mentioning Attack on Titan is when we were walking up, I couldn't remember what the fifth thing on my list was. And it was Attack on Titan, but then I saw a cosplayer and started telling Reid about like another anime, and he was like, that's something I'd be interested in. So I was like, well, I can't remember what the other thing I wanted to say was, so I'll just put that on there.
Well, like, and before you get into your five, 'cause I know you have a lot more to say, like, one that you would like, especially because it's like sports-centric, is Haikyuu. I don't know.
I haven't still seen that one yet. And I've been meaning to watch
that one's really
Blue Lock,
good.
which is soccer-based.
About volleyball. But it's good. I mean, you don't have to be a volleyball fan, but I think being a sports fan, you'd probably appreciate it. It's a really good one.
Okay.
I mean, like, Japan's national team actually, like, made their kits off of the Blue Lock anime.
Well, look, let's go ahead and dive into this top 5 so I can get some recommendations and a list going on, and we're going to hit that top 5 theme.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is the 323's top 5.
Oh, shit.
Here we go again.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is the 323's top 5.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
Yes, this is the 323's top 5. The top 5 animes that Reid should watch according to the lovely Zuhair Ali of the Animation Deliberation podcast. Zoo, do you have any honorable mentions before you get right into your top 5?
I mean, as much as I would love to just say, like, binge Dragon Ball Z, binge Naruto, we already talked about Attack on Titan before getting to this. They're just so long, it's hard for me to tell someone to, like, just go straight into that, because I could easily, like, deter somebody from doing those. So it's like, you gotta earn those. You gotta work your way up to, like,
have them jump into Naruto Shippuden.
I will wind up getting back into Dragon Ball Z on a binge at some point if I can find it on whatever streaming service they have it.
Is it on Crunchyroll?
Might be Crunchyroll.
Hey,
I know Super's on Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
It's 2024. I mean, we already saw the comparison that was happening between 2024 and 2020. COVID Part 2. Might be a good chance for you
Might
to start
be.
binge watching.
I know. I didn't get a chance to do it during COVID. Everybody else got to do the lockdown binging and stuff. Number 5 is in.
Yeah,
What do we
number
have?
5, based on the conversation that we had before we walked into this building, Soul Eater.
Okay.
Saw somebody cosplaying as Maki. I hadn't seen anything like that in a while, and it's a good show. It's about Reapers and just. It is. I will say it is one of those where it's like the anime got ahead of the manga, so the ending isn't that great, but everything like building up to it is really fun. It's a good show. It's not a top tier show. It's enjoyable, and it's something that just kind of shows like the whimsical world that anime can really bring in.
Okay.
Oh man, that just reminded me of another one you should watch. Because it's from the same creator of the manga, Fire Force. We'll put that as like a tie thing, and that's only 2 seasons in right now, with the 3rd one dropping this year, I believe. So if you want like similar art styles and similar character types and stuff, both of those shows would be really good.
Okay.
For number 4, I'm actually going to throw in a movie, an anime movie called Suzume.
Suzume.
It hit theaters a while ago and did such a good job internationally that it stayed in theaters for like a year and a half. It took forever to come out to like any type of like purchase or Crunchyroll or any of that stuff. And it's just the world building. I think it gives you enough of the artistic creativity, the whimsical stuff, but just the imagery of like how they display Japan and different parts of it and stuff is just so incredibly beautiful. It's a great taste of like what you can expect from anime just from watching that 2-hour film.
Yeah. Okay.
Going into number 3, this is the one that I recommend to anybody who's getting into anime, and it's Death Note.
I've heard of that.
Again, that had a decent Netflix movie, like
The live action one?
yeah, the live action one.
The CGI.
It was a good one-time watch. It was
so
like
funny.
Willem Dafoe was
so funny.
Ryuk. It was a good one-time watch. And that,
Yeah.
I mean, there was no comparison to the show, but it was a good one-time
I appreciate it for what it was.
It is about a guy who gets this book, and if you write someone's name in that book, then they'll die. If you don't put any reason, then they just die of a heart attack, but you can get like super intricate, like dies in a car crash or chokes on their food, and like you have to know the person's like legal name and like know what they look like. So it becomes like this whole murder mystery of him basically having like this godlike ability, and people trying to find out, like they figure out that there's like something that's making it, it's targeting, so there's like trying to find out like the person that.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. It's
I'm
good.
actually really into that plot.
So you're watching like from the antagonist's perspective, like the one that's doing all the killing.
Sounds like something that'd be like I love the show Fargo, and that seems like something that would like kind of stem from that world a little bit.
Yeah, crazy murder mystery. Number 2 is a show whose season 2 just ended, Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay.
So 2 seasons and a movie. The movie is actually a prequel to the events of season 1. So my first, like how I got into it is it was one that people told me that I need to watch, and I just kept putting it off. And then the movie was in theaters. This was another one that was in theaters for like 2 years because like it was just doing so well. And my friend was like, hey, this is a prequel movie, like it won't affect anything in season 1, like you should watch it with me, and then that should be a good determination of if you want to watch the show. And that's exactly what I did. And then people who try to get to the show, I was like, just watch the movie. If you don't like the movie, like you won't be in the show.
Yep.
But it's about sorcerers and curses and trying to like, what's the word I'm looking for? Exercise them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very, very great action, great animation, and some pretty awesome storytelling. So again, it's a short one. 2 seasons in the movie. Season 2 just wrapped up. It's probably like another year or 2 until the next one comes out. Easy binge. And then for number 1, I am throwing in Demon Slayer.
So one I always get. Yeah.
Season.
The smelliest anime
5,
fan base, according to
apparently.
the people of Awesome Con.
It's one of them.
Every year they put like the last episode of the most recent season and the first hour of the new season in theaters, so it's just kind of like this fun experience to be able to just hang out with smelly Demon Slayer fans. Thankfully I don't have the problem in the theater that I can recall. But great storytelling. The name kind of says it all. The main character, his sister turns into a demon, so he becomes a demon slayer to try to find out how to convert her back to a human.
Okay.
But she's one that has never like, it's almost like vampire based, where it's like they eat humans and they need the blood, like that's how they get stronger, that's how they like sustain their lives and stuff. they can't come in contact with the sun or they die right away. So she's the one who's never eaten a human before. So for a demon to be working with a demon slayer is kind of like the big thing over there. But it's a very emotional show, incredible animation, great voice cast all around. It's definitely worth getting into.
Okay. All right. Well, I can get down with this whole list. I'm very excited about Death Note. To be honest, that one really piqued my interest there. Scott, do you have any objections? Any
3 of the 5 I gave you were English names too. So
yeah, right. I know.
No, and it's funny because Demon Slayer is definitely up there. It's a really good starter kind of anime to go with. I put that on one day just to put on because I hadn't watched it in a while, and I had the kids with me, and I forgot how dark it gets. So I looked up and I saw it was on TV, and they were coming down the hall. I was like, nope, I don't want to deal with any kind of nightmares.
Yeah, it's the same as Attack on Titan, where it's like the first episode makes you go, what the fuck did I just see?
Right, and another one that I think you would like if you like darker stuff is Tokyo Ghoul. That's a really good one.
That's one I've been meaning to get into.
Yeah, that's a really good one to watch.
Isn't that a movie too?
Yes. And then what was the other one?
Did you have Hunter x Hunter on your list?
I haven't given Hunter x Hunter a chance yet. Spy Family's good.
Yeah.
Spy
heard
Family's
Spy
really
Family.
good.
Yeah.
Spy Family's 2 seasons and the movie's coming into theaters
Yeah,
this year,
Spy
so-
Family would be, if I were to say any of the ones that aren't
I was trying to stay
his,
away from the comedy ones, but yeah.
Right. I mean, there's always One Punch Man. You can always watch One
Yeah.
Punch Man. That's okay. But yeah, if I were to say any of them, it would be Attack on Titan, because you can kind of get through those episodes pretty quick, and it's fast paced. So you got to keep that in mind. Like,
And it just
if you
ended
look
last
away,
week.
like you're gonna miss something important. And then yeah, Spy Family and Tokyo Ghoul will probably be my top 2 to tell you to go watch.
Look, I'm coming back to Awesome Con next year, much more educated on my anime. I'll actually be
He's
able to
gonna go
hang
full
with the
weed.
crowd. He is Zuhair Ali. Animation Deliberation Podcast is where you can find him, in much more great talk and content from him on those same things. Scott Ellia, the 323 College Shame Day. Yeah, we'll get you
Because
guys
on
there
all
too.
the shame.
Yeah, anyway,
There's a-
shame.
We're bridging the worlds.
That's right.
We're bridging the worlds.
Shame.